Welcome everyone, I'm Melissa Kotter and I'm really excited to have your company this evening because I am thrilled to be sharing what ASEA means to me, my journey into ASEA and my vision for ASEA and my wish and hope for you to be able to relax, sit back. I'm not going to sell you anything tonight. I'm going to take you through some options. And if you're a fence sitter like I used to be, my hope and wish is that you'll see in this what I've seen in this and what I know that's come true for me to be the most amazing company backed by a disruptive health technology that is changing the face of healthcare. So I'd like to start by taking you on a journey of my story. We all can rewrite our stories at any time. And when you think about it, our time here on this planet is so short. And if you find yourself like I did 6 years ago when I first embarked on this ASEA journey, where I felt positively stuck and I felt like I didn't have choices that I could make to help get me unstuck. I needed help from the outside. So if you're in that situation tonight where you're looking to write a new chapter, then I'm excited to let you know what happened to me. Because what happens in life, this is life. So the beauty of the journey of going through life is being able to go down paths that we sometimes think we shouldn't have gone down, but in hindsight, we learn the greatest lessons. Tonight, this story and my journey isn't about going down the wrong path. Sometimes in life, we bet on ourselves, we trust those around us, we listen to our hearts and we step forward on the right path at the right time in the right juncture where we can embark upon the most amazing journey. And that actually began for me in terms of my ASEA journey. When I was 24 years of age, I was a pharmaceutical representative for a really large pharmaceutical company in Sydney at the time called SmithKline Beecham Pharmaceuticals. And I started that journey because I grew up quite poor. So I was raised in housing commission homes, and I remember even from a really young child, I never wanted to tell my mum what I wanted for Christmas because I knew she couldn't afford anything. So I never asked for anything because it was just not fun being delivered groceries and Christmas presents from the church and knowing that you were different because you were broke. And so I had no financial backing, and at the age of 23, I, as I said, was working for the pharmaceutical industry, and I contracted a virus that swelled my brain and the meninges around my brain. I ended up here in Hornsby Ku-ring-gai Hospital in Sydney. I was incredibly sick. I'd been selling products that I didn't stand behind, and that came to its head with an integrity crisis when a nurse wanted to administer me in intensive care with the drug I'd been selling in the field. I absolutely knew instinctively, given how sick I was, if I'd had it, I may not have made it out of the hospital. So I had a decision to make. I could, if I left the hospital intact, I was at those crossroads. I could make a decision to continue down a path where I had sold my soul and I was out of integrity. I'm not saying there isn't a place for pharmaceuticals, because absolutely there is. It just wasn't for me on my journey for who I am. I had sold my soul for the money and the prestige. Having a phenomenal company car at the time, I just loved it all. I had dollar signs in my eyes. And I decided when I left that hospital, I had to quit. I had to embark on a journey where I could really undo the damage I felt like I had done to others and go in search of the foundation of health. So I could no longer do any harm in the world, so I could do no harm. So what that did is it took me on another journey where I met a chiropractic student. We managed to open 3 very successful chiropractic clinics once he'd graduated. And I loved being an entrepreneur. So I was 24, 25, had some employees who were amazing. But what happened was I had no time, extremely time poor. And for those of you who have owned businesses or currently own a business, I would go away and we weren't sure what we'd come back to when it came to who else was going to be in the clinic, with the patient base be there. And I was wearing so many hats, full-time marketer and promoter and admin and all these roles. And the long and the short of it was, one day I sat there and realized there was more to me to offer the world. I had to go in search of that yearning deep inside, that small, quiet voice we all have that lets you know that you have unlimited potential and it's being untapped. So at the time, I'd been raised in an environment where it was traditional education. So I enrolled in an MBA at James Cook University to find the business for me. It took a leap of faith. It was difficult and it wasn't necessarily something I enjoyed, but 3/4 of the way through my degree, a patient approached me in the chiropractic clinics and he told me about network marketing, about this business model. And at first I brushed it aside. It was a knee-jerk reaction of, my goodness, I have studied all these years. I'm certainly not going to go into that, meaning you didn't need a degree for that. It was like had been passed through the umbilical cord what this profession was all about. When it actually dawned on me, I had been doing network marketing for the years and years I had the clinics. The only way to build the clinics was through word of mouth. That was the only way. At the time, the Australian Medical Association would not allow chiropractors to advertise or market themselves. So it was purely on word of mouth. And I knew I just had to get out of my way. That was in 1999 that I embarked as a professional in the network marketing profession. And I have absolutely never looked back. What then happened, as happens in life, I was at another crossroads, and this time it was a big one. It lasted 12 and a half years. I had moved to the United States and married my husband, Bart. He'd been in this profession for a long time. We met through network marketing, and he ended up being in court for 12 and a half years, and we ended up having full custody of his children, 2 beautiful boys, but I was not ready for any of it. And I wasn't going to back down. I never will quit anything in my life, but that journey took its pound of flesh from both of us. And when you understand that life happens for you and not to you, it makes the firewalk so much easier and quicker, and you don't get burnt. But it's our attitude, it's our mindset. It's when we think that life happens to us that we get stuck. And I certainly had moments where I had a victim mentality and I had a blame mentality. It's not normally how I am, but I came out that way because life felt unbalanced. We were financially back to ground zero. We had to sell everything we owned to pay the lawyers' fees, which were between $50,000 and $100,000 a month US for many, many, many months, many years. So the good thing was we got to start again. And in that time, ASEA founder, Vertus Norton, one of his sons, walked up our driveway and told me about ASEA. And it was one of those conversations that maybe you've had in your life where people speak to you and they know they're speaking for you. You know there's a higher truth to this. And I clung on to that. And years later, when ASEA opened in Australia after we relocated back here, we said yes to ASEA because I was given a chance to rewrite my story and to pivot with purpose, which maybe you've been in a situation this year where you've needed to pivot with purpose. And I am so happy and so excited that 6 years ago we did this, because our lives have been enriched and fulfilled, and we've, in ways I can't even describe, with people that have made us better people. The sense of belonging that I have now to an ASEA family, to a team, and the way I've been able to become more and more. I've still got growth to do, but the growth, it's in your face sometimes, but it is welcomed and it's perfect, because ASEA provides a framework for us to step in to be all of who we're meant to be in this journey. And it's an exciting road ahead. So for the rest of this presentation, I'm going to delve into 4 aspects of ASEA in terms of their legacy, their innovation, the opportunity, and the ethos. So if you're here tonight to learn about ASEA's technologies, ASEA's product, I'm certainly going to cover those, as well as what I think is just as impactful and profound, which is ASEA's business model. So thanks to Vertus and Tyler, father-son team, they basically are the founders of ASEA. And when I say basically, they are businessmen. They were going to sell ASEA out. What I mean by that was sell the technology out, because they had no background in the network marketing profession. Virtus was the VP of strategy for Kraft Food, a $37 billion a year company. He was a master strategist for top Fortune 500 company executives. The guy is brilliant. His son Tyler was in the financial insurance industries for a couple of decades, with 9 of those years at the VP level as well. So incredibly intelligent businessmen. And they were able to stabilize what I'm going to talk to you about with ASEA's technology, these redox signaling molecules, and they were going to sell it to a big pharmaceutical company. Now, during that time, they had gotten the product out to 135 people, 6 of whom were terminally ill, who needed this product to still be here. When the pharmaceutical company flew out to Salt Lake City, they wanted these 2 gentlemen to take those 6 people, and in fact, all of the people off ASEA. And what happened was Virtus said he wasn't going to do it. He chose people over profit. He absolutely knew there had to be a better way of getting this technology out to the world, because there was a sense that they were going to shelve these molecules, withhold it from us, or we would have had to have been able to obtain them only from a prescription based. So they said no to the money and they turned down the offer. And that's when they decided to embark on word of mouth marketing. And the rest is history when it comes to how they have grown the company into a legacy company. And this is the opening. This is the executives at ASEA. Chuck Funky, CEO, Jerem Webb on the far left, president, and of course Tyler and Virtus Norton, who are cutting the ribbon of their brand new building a couple of years ago. See, ASEA is incredibly financially stable. They're the global leaders in cellular health, and that's why, because there's no competition in the market space in which they play this game, and it is so fun to be involved with them because their business background means that they've been debt-free from the 7th month in business. In the short 10 years, it's 10 years this year that they've been in operation. They have 19 distribution centers. This is a distribution facility. They have 19 distribution centers globally getting this technology out to the world. They are in currently 33 countries. They've paid out over $275 million in commissions to their associates. They've also generated well over $800 million in profits. And this facility here has got the capacity for $1 billion annually in terms of what they know is coming. They're set up, they're prepared, they're ahead of the curve. They're not a company where they'll implode because they haven't judged right with their vision in terms of what they can and can't do. They're well and truly prepared. That capacity is coming, particularly based on the growth that we've seen in the last few years with ASEA. So what they've created when it comes to the innovation side of things is a breakthrough that has interrupted the breakdown. So our cells are breaking down. We live and die at the cellular level. Now, this technology, it wasn't able to have been stabilized outside the body for 17 years. Scientists tried this. In fact, 3 scientists in 1998 were awarded a Nobel Prize for their discovery of reactive oxygen species of the class that these molecules are in. This technology is certainly, as I mentioned earlier, it is at the forefront of the medical science. There are universities that have been set up trying to clamor for some market space with this technology. See, every other network marketing company that I know of, they go out and they get existing market share. Not the case with ASEA. They have created an entirely new category because of these molecules, and they're taking that new category out into the market. That's why so many people are trying to get a hold of these molecules that only ASEA have. Now, the reason why these molecules are so important is because we live in a toxic world. The air we breathe is not great. Our soils have been depleted for many, many years. My first degree was a science degree where I studied soil chemistry. And I knew that our soils, 2/3 of our soils in Australia were depleted 30 years ago. We don't have the trace minerals and the nutrients in our soil that our body needs. There's the food that we eat is incredibly toxic. There's over 10,000 untested chemicals that are sprayed on our food every year. The list goes on, the skin care that people put on their skin, let alone what they inject into themselves. There's 127 different chemicals that people apply to their skin every day. This is backed up by scientific studies that have gone in and proven this. It's harmful. The food choices people are eating because of instant gratification, the food choices they're making is really affecting their health at a huge level. Not only is it showing on the outside when it comes to the obesity levels that are going up around the world, but the gastrointestinal tract is known as our second brain. So what people are putting in their bodies that are usually nutrient deficient food groups, it's affecting their moods, it's affecting their mental cognition, it's affecting their brain function, because there is a huge correlation, and there's an entire field out there called psychoimmunology, which studies this connection. And the toxins are building up in our body and they're unable to escape. And what's happening is it's causing damage, severe damage to our cells. Each cell, because we live and die at the cellular level, as I mentioned before, each cell is like the most magnificent city that you'll ever see under an electron microscope. The amount of functions that go on at the cellular level without our knowledge is unbelievable. And what happens is they get overwhelmed every now and then because of the load we keep putting on them, and they break away from the communication network. Our genes become switched off, and no longer can messages get through to these damaged cells to tell them they're damaged, they need to be repaired, or if they're too far damaged, they need to be replaced. The other problem with the messengers are not getting through in terms of this repair and replacement process, it's because the body is deficient in messenger molecules, which naturally happens in regards to us losing our ability at the cellular level to produce messenger molecules after puberty. This creates deficiency and imbalances. In fact, scientists and medical doctors have said that all dysfunction in the body at the cellular level is caused by a deficit and imbalance of redox function. And that's actually why we're aging, because if you look here, when a cell's damaged, the membrane's hard and rigid, it's misshaped, it's not healthy, is screaming out for help. And what's happening is only some nutrients can get in, but what's worse is we can't detox. The toxic waste products can't get out. And this is a serious situation that doesn't end well for most people, because damaged cells and damaged genes plus poor cell-to-cell communication means that we actually do have a severe epidemic in society where people's health is deteriorating right before their eyes, and it starts at the cellular level, at the foundation of all health. So when I said I left that hospital bed years ago in search for the foundation of health, I absolutely know with 100% conviction and certainty that I have found it with ASEA, based on it being cellular health so foundational. Because see, cells, we've got over 75 trillion cells in our body. They form tissues, which form systems, which form organs, which make us uniquely who we are as individuals. So we've got to find a way to reverse the damage, because it's causing rapid and unnecessary aging. And this is what it looks like on the outside, but it comes from the inside that we're breaking down in such a way. So ASEA has the solution. And it's because of this amazing city I was talking about before. But essentially it's because of the mitochondria, or the power plant in our cells, that produces energy for the body. And so what happens is a normal process of producing energy by the mitochondria is the offshooting of these redox signaling molecules, these messenger molecules, which scientists for the longest time thought were a byproduct or a waste product of this cellular respiration process. See, our cells are made of salt water. So why the miracle of this disruptive technology is so profound is because the body has to use these molecules in a millionth of a second, or else they turn back into salt and water. These molecules restore communication to those damaged cells, to the cells in our body. They're able to take messages to the damaged cells and say, hey, you've got to get back into this network. You're in trouble. We can help. That's basically what they do. These molecules are vital to your very existence. You wouldn't be alive in the next few seconds if it wasn't for the production of these molecules in our body. And they control and completely have mastery over the cardiovascular, musculoskeletal, endocrine, immunology. The immune system is boosted scientifically by well and truly over 500% because of these molecules. If you want to find out more, you can go to asiascience.com. But our health is dependent upon there being a perfectly balanced set of these molecules in the body. They also switch on genes across these 5 really unique and important pathways that lead on to dozens of other pathways in the body. Now, for me, when I started ASEA, I would have told you I was healthy. I was using ASEA to take a proactive approach to my health. In reality, since I was a teenager, I'd had a really bad thyroid gland that was quite swollen, and I'd been on medication when I was younger, decided didn't like medication, went off it, just put up with it. You could see in photos over the years it was really swollen, but after a while, when you look at something often enough, you don't even see it anymore. I can't tell you when, because I wasn't tracking it, because I wasn't even thinking that ASEA would help in this area, because the gene study hadn't been done at that time, but within about a 4-year period, no longer have any issues with that gland, no longer have any swelling whatsoever of the gland in my body. And that's because the genes were switched back on. I don't know when they got switched off, but I was in bad shape. They switched back on and have helped to modulate my hormones, which for me, can't put a price on that. I'm so grateful for that. And it's all about a balance. Now, this is ASEA. In this bottle, there are trillions of certified, stabilized redox signaling molecules, a balanced set. And it is, as I mentioned before, all about the balance. See, we had to be able to distribute this technology through word of mouth, because if you leave a bottle on the shelf anywhere and it says on the back of it basically salt water, people don't understand the magic in this bottle, these miracle molecules that are stabilized in there. And so we get we have the good fortune to be able to explain that to people every day, and the results that you will hear are absolutely profound, ranging from little things like small cuts on your finger to situations where people have to get their affairs in order. And Dr. Kurt Stickley says it really well. He says, without these cell signaling molecules, we simply wouldn't have immune protection from various bacteria. We wouldn't have the gene replication that we need, DNA sequencing that we need. So even though it seems like a small piece, these redox signaling molecules interact throughout the body with every cell that we know. So I hope you can get a sense, if you're new to the webinar tonight, what we have our hands on as the only company in the world that have these molecules stabilized outside our body. We need them. Everybody is deficient in these molecules. And as I said before, every disease is a redox deficiency, a redox imbalance. That's why the disease is there. So we have a lot of people out there we need to get this message to. Being the #1 leaders in the cellular health space, ASEA took one step further and produced as their second product, Renew 28. Healthy skin cells renew themselves every 28 days. These products are completely safe, non-toxic. It's a whole body therapy. And what happened was people were spraying themselves with the molecules from the bottle and their skin was improving. And so it took 5 years for scientists to be able to put the right ingredients, there's only 4 ingredients in this bottle, to be able to put it in there to be so that it doesn't denature the molecules. And so Renew 28 then became even a more heavily concentrated formula with this intensive redox serum. Now people are applying this. I've spoken to people who have been applying this to their head, and all I can say is things are falling off their head in the shower. Now, that doesn't happen unless cellular communication is restored. This is not just fancy salt water. These products are so highly functional at the cellular level, there's nothing else out there that can touch it. But they then developed it into the world's only redox skincare line, which means that we get to cleanse our skin, to prepare our skin. This is a phenomenal shaving foam for gentlemen. My husband Bart loves it. We get to prepare our skin for the receipt of the molecules. So then we use the Renew Advanced, the Renew 28, and then the Renew Advanced Intensive Redox Serum. And my favorite product in the skincare line, even though it's not as functional as the molecules, is the moisturizer. It is absolutely divine. Typically, I've had really dry skin in the past, probably due to my hormone condition that I had all those years. It took me, it wasn't overnight. It took me about 9 weeks to see results with Renew 28. And since then, I have never, ever looked back. My skin is younger, feeling younger than it was 6 years ago before I started on these products. So I'm going to show you some before and after photographs now, but I just need to make note as a disclaimer that ASEA's products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. These are before and after photographs after 3 weeks of using Renew 28 twice a day. You can see these results speak to themselves. So if you haven't started the products yet, please take your before photographs. This is a result of what the molecules are doing on the outside. Can you imagine what they're doing on the inside when we combine it with the consumption of the molecules through ASEA? Of course, there's a clearing up of wrinkles. I've been chatting with people in Los Angeles lately, a couple of people who've joined our team, and this is really important to them, to be able to scientifically show people through a company called Dermatest, the world's largest dermatological laboratory out of Germany, that there is a 23% improvement in wrinkle depth and 20% improvement in elasticity, but not just talk numbers, to be able to show them through the thousands of photos out there of people's results. It really does speak for itself, and it makes a huge difference. Now, I mentioned before, Renew 28 is a whole body therapy. Here in these photos, we're still dealing with the face in terms of what I'm showing right here. But when you can see this condition, which is fairly common in teenagers, there's also from Stevens and Associate, another leading dermatological laboratory, a 49% increase in blood flow, which is really huge because blood carries nutrients into the cell and toxins out. That's why people who use the Renew Advanced Skincare line, they look radiant and youthful, they glow. And a lot of that also is because this gel also increases skin cell renewal. And when the skin cell renewal slows down, so I'm 50 next year, when that slows down, I'm not operating in the 28-day cycle. But what actually happens is, because of this extra 16% skin cell renewal, those skin cells are being sloughed off. And that's why, yet again, people look so radiant when they use this technology. It makes a huge difference to the skin. This isn't the best quality, but they're real photos, this before and after with this gentleman's neck, the creping of this lady's arm, and the before and afters for sunburn. Now, we have Renew 28 wherever we go. It is in our first aid kit. It's in every handbag I have. It is my go-to first option if I cut my finger, or if I need an extra boost. I'll spray the molecules on my face. I'll put the gel on my temples. I use it twice a day religiously, would never, ever be without it. I'd have to pry it out of my dead hands. That's how much I love this product, because of the benefits that it's been giving me. Now, if you think you're going to grab a tube or drink a bottle and get results overnight, this is to let you know that some people do. I don't know why some people get results that are this fast and others have to wait for it, outside of the only explanation that these molecules are put to use in the highest priority that the body deems that they need to go to, not where we would like them to go potentially at first. So for me, it taking 9 weeks to see anything in my skin, then I'm assuming, it's an assumption, it hasn't been scientifically proven, but my truth in it is that these molecules were going somewhere else in the body that really needed some urgent attention. So this is after 5 applications, Renew 28 in the one day. This lady has had these results after 7 months, and I'm sure she doesn't mind that she's waited 7 months to be able to get on top of this condition that I know has plagued her for years, and she tried every lotion and potion out there to try and get on top of it. You can also go to this Facebook group where there are over 147,000 members in this private group. You can type in all sorts of search results to be able to pull up really interesting real stories that you might want to know about. Also realredoxresults.com, the password's redox, for you to go and find out more about different conditions as well. So athletes, ASEA has been scientifically proven to help athletes perform better. They utilize their fatty acids instead of the glycogen store in their muscles, which means they can push further, they can perform better, and their recovery is second to none. That's why Olympic athletes use them, and it's safe, it's a clean product. So Bria Larson gets followed around by the International Olympic Committee, and she is tested at any time, and she is very confident to know that every time, because she's powered by these molecules, that she's not ever going to be in trouble in any way. But she's been on this technology for well over 10 years and says it has made the biggest difference to her performance. We've got Sean Burke. He says it keeps him running across the finish line as a triathlete, even into his 60s. As well as, I love Dexter Yates. She's amazing. She's in her 70s and she is an Ironman world champion. If you go to athletes.aseaglobal.com, there are numerous other dozens of athletes that have partnered with ASEA because of the results that they're getting. And Dexter thought she was going to have to hang up her bicycle and her shoes and everything else before she found ASEA, because she really wanted to be world champion, but she did not have the energy, the stamina. Her body was breaking down. And since these molecules, she's back-to-back world champion. She's an amazing athlete. Now, what happened is, you might see this from earlier in terms of this. Oh no, I didn't show it earlier. That's right. This is what a healthy cell looks like when the structure has been restored to the cell. So nutrients can get in and waste products can get out. So yet again, because ASEA is in the cellular health space, they have come up with these amazing nutrients and supplements called VIA, ASEA VIA. They contain BioVIA, which means that you're actually assimilating the highest source of these nutrients. You're pulling it out of these nutrients and utilizing it. Like, for example, the trace nutrients or elements I said earlier that the soils don't have anymore. We simply cannot get from our food what the body needs. We have to have these nutrients in the actual cell. It's got to be in the cells so that these molecules can put them to use. If you don't have good nutrition and there's poor nutrition in your cell, or in a damaged cell when there's not good nutrition to use, you're just not going to have the energy that you need to thrive in life at the cellular level, to be healthy, to feel good. Currently, this range is not for retail in Australia, but I've got to say, sometimes you realize the benefits of a product when you've run out. So I ran out of Biome about a week ago, waiting for it to come in, and I have noticed the biggest difference in my gut. This is my favorite product in the range, and just get together with the person who invited you on tonight's webinar to find out more, or go to aseavia.com. But Biome it's in a category all of its own when it comes to, most companies will dust some nutrients, dust some things into their product, which is just a brief sprinkling of them so that they can put it on the label. Not ASEA, no way. They consulted with the best in the world to be able to put this range together. It's real whole foods. It's a cellular longevity formula. It's designed to support the body at the cellular level so cells can duplicate beautifully. It is also targeting cardiovascular health, as well as, of course, Biome with that gut-brain connection. So it's an amazing range that ASEA, Anne-Louise Gittleman stands behind. She's written over 30 books on nutrition. She says, ASEA, in my humble estimation, is the greatest advance in lifestyle medicine, which harnesses the power of your own body to keep you well. This is a testimonial on Biome. After I started with Biome, I feel so light mentally. As a registered nurse, I know how closely related my gut and my mood are, but to experience it like this is absolutely amazing. It is difficult to pick a favorite in the Sea of Via range because some people absolutely swear by the cellular longevity formula, the Life Max, and others would never be without whole foods. The idea here is it's been put together to work synergistically with redox. So order them all, try them all, be on them all. There's specific reasons why we need each and every one of them. And you can write your own story after you've given these products a good 90-day go to be able to know the difference. Now, I said that the opportunity is just as important to me, which it is, because I know in life, and particularly over the last 6 years, I've been able to do more good and serve more people when I've had the financial abundance to be able to do so. With my husband and I have been able to help stranded backpackers on Fraser Island who were in a diabolical situation where their car would have been washed away with the wreck. It broke down. They had no money, no way of getting out, and we could give them cash on the spot. Being able to pay for my niece's school fees anonymously, being able to help my mum out. She's just always struggled in her life, and being able to really help her out in a significant way that we were just not able to do. So financial abundance is a great thing because we can help more people. In terms of looking back to my employee days, to be perfectly honest, especially with this year, there is no such thing as job security. It just doesn't exist. If you have all your eggs in one basket with the one job, please, I encourage you to diversify. Really take a look at this as a multiple source of income, to come up with another plan to be able to diversify for the interest of yourself and your family's future. This isn't fun, and this has been happening to a lot of people this year. Number one reason for divorce is financial stress. So there's a solution, there's a way out. And that's what we found, as I mentioned with my story earlier, because I took the time to check in with my heart, with my gut, and to say yes to ASEA. This is how it felt when I was in the pharmaceutical industry. I tell you, I hated Sundays. All of a sudden I'd start to hate Sundays because Monday was around the corner and I had to go back to work. But I knew I had to pay bills and I was on my own. So it was like this never-ending treadmill where you dare not look sideways in case your life changes. But we have to change some of the most beautiful pathways we've walked down in our lives, as I'm sure you'll agree, where it has been an untrodden path, has worked out to be the most beautiful chapters in our storybooks of our lifetime. The thing is, at the time I was stuck in my head before I said yes to ASEA. I needed some people on the outside to be able to say, this is an option. Just take a look. There's no downside. In fact, the only downside to ASEA is if you stand in your own way. But having said that, because it has such a beautiful culture, which I'll explain in a minute, there's always people there to help nudge you forward, to help you see that this is what it really is, to help. And we're all growing at different paces and at different times in our life. The beautiful thing is ASEA is a safe place to do all the growth you need and to do the stopping if you need at times too. But as I said, we can help you get off this treadmill if you are looking to expand your options. It's simply by making recommendations, word of mouth. So we go to restaurants that we love, we make a recommendation. I had a car mechanic come to the driveway, pick up the car yesterday, drive it back, do the service, drop it back. I have no hesitation to recommend him to all the neighbours in the street. I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to sit around whilst the car was being serviced somewhere, twiddling my thumbs. We all make recommendations every single day, only sometimes we don't get paid for it. I'll recommend the mechanic because he's amazing. I like him and because of the service, but I won't get paid on that. I get paid feeling good. I've made a really great recommendation I can stand behind, but why not get paid for our recommendations? That's the beauty of this industry. Here's a story from Matt and Christina Williams, who were struggling to make ends meet with a pile of debt and 6 boys to support. 12 months into their ASEA journey, they bought a home in the United States. They could work from home and travel the world with their kids. David's story is really profound. He's an amazing human being. He came from a desperate place. He was a professional ballet dancer for 20 years. He came from a desperate place where he couldn't pay his mortgage. He was working 80 to 100 hours a week as a cafe owner, and he had to borrow money from his mum, which I can tell you in the Asian culture, they don't like to do it at all. It hurts a lot to go back and do that from parents. In just over 3 years, David has completely turned his life around, the life of his families. He's debt free, he has time freedom, he's living his life on purpose, and that's really important. And he's taken his family on many wonderful trips around the world. We're so excited for David. He's an amazing human being. His growth has been so fulfilling and joyful to witness. And that's really my joy in ASEA. What drives me, what fulfills me the most is, of course, my growth, but the growth of other people, seeing other people succeed. That's priceless, just priceless. But myself, I mean, we were up against the wall 6 years ago. We weren't in a happy place at all. I was scared. I was scared to move forward, and I hadn't been scared before. I would bungee jump, so to speak, in my life and jump out of planes. It didn't matter. But sometimes in life, you get knocked down a few times. It's a matter of remembering that if you can look up, you can get up. And this is what ASEA has been able to do for us. And more importantly, if someone asks me, and it comes to my mind every time, what do you love the most about ASEA? It's the people. It's the people we get to have some experiences with. And we love to get out and have fun. So we just feel eternally grateful to ASEA for the new chapter we've been able to write in partnership with them to be able to live the life of our dreams. And when we had to liquidate everything a few years ago, we're actually now getting back into the housing market, which we're really, really excited about, thanks to ASEA. Now, their ethos, for those of you who are looking for a sense of belonging, I truly believe with absolute solid conviction that ASEA is your home. It will represent a home for you, like it has for the hundreds of thousands of people around the world, because of their company culture. People who aren't of the, who are more of an untoward nature, they don't get attracted to ASEA. They don't come into this family. It's because it's based on the Ubuntu principle, which is an African principle whereby a group of boys, school children, were offered a basket of fruit that was put by a tree just a little bit away from them. And the school teacher said, go help yourself to the fruit. Well, they all linked arms. They all walked to the fruit basket. They all shared the bountiful supply together. And when asked why they did that, they said it's because if one of us wins, then we lose, because that one person loses because everyone else has gone without. And that really is what ASEA is about. Please look into the ethos and the culture of ASEA, because if you watch also ASEA Genesis, ASEAgenesisvideo.com, that really was the deciding factor for me to absolutely get off the fence with ASEA. And it's thanks in part to this gentleman here, where he says, Tyler Norton, that is, our noble purpose of bringing ASEA Redox to the world matters. ASEA empowers our associates and employees to believe in a life-changing product, to belong to an organisation driven by principles, and to become better people professionally and personally. Couldn't say it better myself, but this is real and it does happen at ASEA. So in terms of moving forward, it's as easy as taking 3 really simple steps. You need to interrupt the breakdown. It's happening at the cellular level, and I encourage you to experience the ASEA difference that I've experienced personally, and that hundreds of thousands of people, as I mentioned before, have experienced. Everyone's journey is unique. Please get on a 90-day supply, as I mentioned earlier, because that's when you'll notice the most significant results. 90+% of people notice the most significant results. Not to say the product doesn't work 100% of the time and 100% of the people, but some people have had things happening at the cellular level when it comes to damage for a long time. And sometimes it doesn't improve overnight in terms of us noticing it. So please do yourself a favor, your health a favor, and get on a 90-day product consumption so you can really experience this for yourself. Step 2 is make recommendations. As I said, we all do it, and it's with the idea of being able to have your products paid for. Why not do that? This is an investment in your health. So when you can share it with a few people, which you'll want to do, then you'll have that investment paid for. And that will bring in some extra money that maybe you're looking to supplement your income with right now. Some people, like my husband and I, we had been in the industry a long time. We know the power of this profession. We know it's not perfect, but we absolutely know it is a better way. And it's given us an ability to create time and money freedom, which we really wanted from the beginning. I love to be able to live my life my way. I love to be able to sleep in if I'm tired and not have to get up to an alarm clock stress anymore. I'm excited to be able to, a few weeks ago in Coles, there was a older lady in front of me in the shopping queue, and she piled up her trolley full of food. One card didn't work. The second card didn't work. The third card didn't work. She left her trolley there. She went outside probably to cry because she didn't have funds in her account, though she told the lady that she needed to transfer money from her bank account. And just, this is a seer for me. The gift I was able to give her anonymously by paying for her groceries. It meant the world to me, because I used to have to steal food when I was in my first university degree to live. I used to have to break into Coles and steal food. So to be in a position to be able to do that, you could really make a difference and earn the income to be able to do that. So if you're at the crossroads, just know that this is the missing piece that will help to interrupt the breakdown: financial, cellular health. Otherwise, this is it. So if you're somebody who really needs to pay attention to your health right now, if you're listening in tonight because you're suffering and you're not able to be all that you've been designed to become because you just don't have the energy to do it. Dr. Maureen Hayes says this beautifully. Most people don't actually consider their health until it's gone. So it's the choices we make today that are going to determine the level of our wellness and our health and our healthy longevity tomorrow. So please don't take the information on this technology for granted. My hope is that, as John Norton spoke to me in the driveway all those years ago, you'll take a piece of this and get off the fence and look into it, particularly for the benefit of your health. If you're in a situation where your wealth needs more than a Band-Aid, it needs resuscitating, or even if it does need a Band-Aid for now because you're planning ahead, don't wait till the resuscitation part. Please take a really good look at this. You don't need an MBA like I have. In fact, the two highest income earners in ASEA don't have degrees. They graduated from high school. So yeah, I probably wasted some time studying some degrees. I'm doing a PhD now for me, as a gift for me, that I finish in a few months' time. But you don't have to do that. There's an even playing field. And tell me where there's another business that can put you across 33 countries, where you don't have to know people in 32 of those 33 countries for as little of an investment as $60, then it doesn't get any low risk or any simpler than this. All you have to do is get out of your own way and bet on yourself. Bet that this next move in terms of the decision you make, down which path you're going to walk on the crossroad, if you do it with ASEA, you have an army of support. You're not going to be let down, and you'll be rewarded in ways that I can't imagine, because the fulfillment and the freedom that you'll look back on that you have, that maybe now you feel in bondage and you don't know a way out, just know there's always another choice. Even though I was a professional at feeling stuck and my victim and blame mentality really came through, that I was disgusted in looking back, but that was where I was at. So be kind to yourself and know that there is a choice here, and I support you to come and really check this out to make an educated decision. And please choose to join us, because the cause of ASEA is actually bigger than all of us. Because Vertus and Tyler decided not to sell this technology down the river to the pharmaceutical companies, we have an opportunity like never before in history to make a huge difference out there. And I just would love you to explore it and to be able to put yourself in a position where you can write your own story, because the only person you're destined to become is the person you decide to be. And that can happen tonight. That can happen because tomorrow, when you turn over the page of your new book, you get to put the title of your chapter in there and you get to write it. And my encouragement is to don't allow anyone to rewrite your story for you. You were born to write your own story, and write it with pride, and know that the chapter that you'll write, if you choose to join us with the seer, and I know I keep harping about this, but I really truly do own this and believe it, the chapter that you're going to write could potentially be the best chapter in the book of your life than you ever write in your whole life. And I'm so excited for you to experience that. So thank you for joining me tonight. Yeah, I'll stop the recording and take some questions if you like, but yeah, really appreciate your company. So.